Rochelle, this is not just for captive bred. Anna does both. She's been doing the regular adoptions for a really long time and just took over the captive bred when we had them.
I don't know what you guys want to know. I just process applications. I'm a glorified call screener for hermit crabs.
Well, you are indispensable to me because there is no way on God's green earth I could do what I do and do that and tell people no who don't have their setups, up to speed. And yeah, so
I think just refusing people the ability to adopt at the current time is the hardest part for me. I don't know. Like, I would love to get everybody to have babies, but if you're not ready, you got to understand you're not ready.
Yeah, and for everybody who maybe has been not approved or is still waiting for approval, for us, it's really all about the crabs and the long-term success of captive breeding. If we send babies to people who aren't quite ready and the babies die, captive breeding gets blamed instead of their care. And we need captive breeding to succeed from day one. So to do that, we're vetting everyone incredibly carefully. I should say Anna is. I'm leaving it up to her. We talk if there's a gray line, if it's clear, she's handling it. If you're close, we tell you what you have to do, give you the chance to submit more pictures and reevaluate. A no isn't forever. Correct, Anna?
No. It just means you have something you need to work on, and then eventually you can have babies. And I try to tell everybody that it can go either way sometimes. It depends on the person's personality, really.
Yeah, and I get it's hard to be told no and hard to come back after you've been told no. Also, I've been there, but it's not a judgment on our part in anything. It's the parameters we've set for captive breeding and for regular adoptions, and we just have to have a cutoff point for everything. And so that's what we do, or she does. I keep talking like I do it. I don't do it.
So as far as like a time frame, it really depends on am I busy with work that week? Do I have 100 emails I need to respond to? Time frame could be different for everybody. Are you set up correctly? If you are set up correctly, usually it just goes through like that. It just depends on a couple of things. And I do volunteer my time to doing this, so sometimes I might need a break. Replying to 100 plus emails, it can be difficult for one person.
Definitely. Can you see the pinned questions? Because Stacy and I will be pinning things that you can address directly.
Oh yeah, I was just scrolling. I saw that one first. Well, if you're approved for babies, I have no problem approving you for the regular adoption program. But if you're approved for the regular adoption program, I'd prefer you to do the separate application process, because there are a little more concerns with the babies because they're sensitive. They're babies. You got to do baby proofing. Yeah. What's your other questions? Oh, I already answered the time frame thing.
Okay.
That's something for you. You handle transporting, but we did successfully adopt out about 25 or 30 crabs from Mike's adoptees, and they went all over the country, so no problem.
Yeah, they do that really well. I only ship the babies. I feel like we finally perfected it. Last year, I was very, very nervous. This year, I'm always nervous shipping them. So far this year, we've shipped 75 babies, captive bred babies. No losses in transit, no losses in the days after transit from stress. We have insulated shipping containers. I ship them only overnight. I drop them off late in the day at UPS, and I schedule it for an early morning delivery. So they're in the package 12 hours, no more than 24 hours. UPS has been good so far, knock on wood. Can you think of anything else, Anna?
Have you shipped to regional adopters yet?
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. That was sort of an experiment, but I only shipped the pre-approved babies. I will be sending another shipment to regional adopters who are willing to house some in case people locally adopt them, because I have hundreds here and I need to get them out. So these generous regional adopters are going to take as many as they can.
What's the biggest shipment you have shipped so far?
20 to Courtney Carr in Las Vegas last year. Those were 2018 babies. She has huge, massive tanks. She does a lot of experimentation, and I don't mean like, whoa, I mean like, you know, which lighting do they prefer? Which, you know, foods do they like? It's not like, you know, do they scream when I poke them? It's
kind of like what I have behind me, you know.
Grand experiment, that for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've shipped to Las Vegas. I've shipped to California. I've shipped to Oregon, Idaho, Florida, all over, close, Ohio, Pennsylvania. They get them really quickly. It's cheaper. It's usually a minimum of $60 for that overnight shipment. For California, for early in the morning shipment, it's like $100. I will cover some of that to help out. I take it from the adoption funds to help people. I haven't set a cutoff at this point. I think I'm going to make it 50 for shipping, and then I cover above that, or charge less if you're close and it doesn't cost that much. So
that's very generous considering like you know, normal exotic pet breeders, they won't do that for you. You're out, you know, $60-$80. But if your animal dies, you're at least guaranteed a live arrival. So
yeah, and I would guarantee a live arrival too. We just haven't had, that hasn't come up. They've all made it. So if any arrived dead, heaven forbid, we'll talk.
It's a part of the process, you know, it's a part of the process. You should maybe expect that at some point.
Yeah.
You can still apply if you haven't had them for a year, but you can't adopt until you've had them for a year. Like, if say you're set up and you're great, you got everything down right. We want to see that you have some experience with them, like emergencies and things that come up, that you can handle those things. Like mold. What if you get mold? What if you're new to it and you don't know that you need to replace your substrate, or you get a flood, you need to replace your substrate? Like, there's just little things like that that we want to see that you know how to do. And I'll even go as far as like searching your name in various groups to see, like, has this person had recent issues in their tank? Have they corrected those issues? Things like that. I look into further than you think I do.
She's everywhere.
Any place I can try to be. And I do have lots of animals. So if you have lots of animals, I see you in other groups too. What's your next question?
There's a pinned one. That's good. What are the parameters for being approved?
Like, how are you set up? We require you to be set up to our group's guideline. You can find that in the newbies guide. You can find that all over our group. I'll even send it to you if, you know, you're not set up correctly. I got a long email written up with like everything, you know, typed out, what you need to know, links to this and that. It's just basic. What size of tank do you need? Well, it depends on how many crabs you'd like to take in. Like, you have to be set up with your tank prior to adopting. So you got a 20-gallon, you're probably only going to get 1 or 2 crabs depending on the size of the crab. We do have space requirements in our setting up guide on the Crabtree Journal. Oh, Mary.
I already answered in the chat. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as long as you're set up correctly and you got enough space, we'll adopt you. That's a you question.
No, probably not. Nope, not the goal. So for those who didn't see, the question was, would I like to have the captive bred babies released into the wild? If wild populations dwindled and wildlife officials approved it and asked for them and vetted me and made sure the babies didn't have anything that would hurt wild populations, fine. Yeah, I want wild crabs to live and grow and thrive. For me right now, the best way to do that is to keep captive bred babies as pets and let the wild ones stay in the wild.
I mean, you're also expanding into exotics. Like, what if you get an exotic species that, 10 years from now doesn't exist in the wild? Maybe that could be a future thing for you. Can you mute? Oh, definitely. You can put them in with big crabs. Mary actually suggests you to put the babies in with big crabs because they feel like they teach them something about being a crab.
Yeah, a lot of people decide or opt to have them in a small tank first so they can get comfortable with them and not be terrified of these tiny, tiny babies. And then eventually they move them in with the bigger crabs. Or some people will take their smallest big crab and put it in the baby tank and let them they just want to control it. It's scary. So any way you want to do it is fine. But eventually we suggest they get mentored by real live wild crabs to teach them things. The data collection, well, I'm not requiring it of adoptees now. We did for the 2018 babies. Those people who continued with that, because not everyone did, I will welcome any additional input. Oh, that we have a July measurement coming up, don't we? Whoa. Forgot about that. We measure leg span. We have a special chart for that. I don't think I have one in front of me, but it's just a radiating, like a target that has measurements. Awesome. We measure so the leg span, the shell opening. We do this quarterly to track growth and behavior. We have notes for behavior. Yeah, there's the woohoo. And they're tiny. I mean, they're just in the beginning. Their leg span is like that. We measure sex as soon as possible. We measure, there was another one I forgot. Leg span, open. Oh, shell choice. We're super interested in what shells the babies are favoring when they're small because we don't always know this in the wild. A couple of people have been doing more in-depth things like lighting and such, but and handling, whether or not you handle your babies is up to you. We're interested in if they become comfortable with that or if they're still, like wild crabs, stay freaked out. And that's minimal handling. That's not having them out all day, on your desk while you're working. But anyway, those are just a few of them.
I'm not sure about where you have regional adopters, so no.
None in North Dakota.
One day. Yeah. So for babies, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be set up correctly. With the regular adoption program, I do take into consideration that everybody is not going to have a crabby mansion. Like, it just is what it is. Not everybody has the space. Not everybody has the funds to do so. So if you're lacking on like certain aspects, I'll try to push you to adopt through our regular adoption program versus adopting babies. And then maybe in the future, when you're more set up better mannered, then you could maybe adopt babies. It's never a no. And I try really hard to keep it like that. I don't want to prevent anybody from being able to experience this. It's something we never really thought would happen.
Yeah, and it's a process. You know, as we learn more, we may change our restrictions. We may go down to 10 months of having crabs, or you know, we are adjusting as it makes sense. So far, we're not adjusting yet, but you know, we are looking at the best. You know, what's best for the crabs.
I mean, we did go from, what was it, like 5 or 3 years
Yeah.
to 1 year. Yeah. So, I mean, we did have less babies when we were doing 5 years or 3 years or whatever it was.
Jean, I shipped them in. I should have had one put together. It's from shipyourreptiles.com, and it's made by NeoHerp, I think, the original box, but it's a box for shipping baby reptiles. It's a 6x6 box. It's fully insulated with styrofoam on all 4 sides. It has the ADA, agricultural, whatever it is, you know, thing on the outside that tells you what species it is, how many are in there, you know, so it's got the sticker that approves it, says live animals. It's been great. And then within that, I have them in a small plastic container with holes in the top, with damp moss, some burning bush leaves, a little food, everything they need. They seem perfectly happy when they get there, just ready to get out and explore.
That's a good company to use. A lot of reptile breeders use it.
I think you suggested it.
Probably. Well, if you're set up correctly, you could probably adopt a couple of babies. They require virtually almost no space because they're small. Like even our care guide, I think, says if it's under a nickel, it could get 2 to 5 gallons and be happy.
Yeah, you will eventually have to upgrade, but not for a year or two. They depending on how fast they grow.
Yeah. That's up to you. If you want to keep a miniature tank inside of your bigger tank for the babies and then release them at a future date, or if you want to set up a smaller tank just for them.
What did you do before, Danielle? Because I know you're adopting for the second time. $29-gallon. Did you see them a lot? Were they invisible in there? Oh, good. Okay. Or no, maybe the no was see them a lot. Gotcha. Yeah.
As far as getting them across the border, I think you prefer them to meet you over here and then transport them like with your car or whatever, however, except for I don't think you could get on an airplane with them. I don't know how that would work. I don't think it would work out.
Really tiny ones you could probably stick in your bra, but you know.
We've had people do that with crabs, with adults.
Just kidding.
No, don't
Border enforcement.
How do I transport adult crabs? I usually, so with the adoption program, I connect people on a local basis, and then you guys handle the meetup. I have arranged like transportation with another adopter to get it to another adopter. Like if the adoptee is closer to one and the one person it has the time to travel to get it to the other adopter, like I've done that, but I really try to stray away from shipping adult crabs because a lot of times in the adoption program, they're not the healthiest. Like it just is what it is, unfortunately. Nope, no adoption fee. You just got to put up with me.
The babies now are all clypeatus. Yep. And in fact, an important point to know for everyone, I do have some exotic species for us. We don't know what they are yet. Those will only be adopted out to people who have already had clypeatus babies. just because they're exotic species and their needs are less well known to us. I need people who are comfortable having babies already and not just jumping into exotic babies. So if you want exotics down the line, get some Clypeatus now. They're a lot sturdier, they're stronger. You can sort of learn on them. And that's, that's just what I'm requiring at this point. I wish we could send you some too, Sue. They'd be there as fast as I could get them to you. Sarah, our screens are fine. It might just be something on your end. Well, if it's black, you can't hear us anyway. Yeah, it would be cool if they're Perlatus. It'd also be cool if they're Viola or if they're Compressus, because I haven't succeeded with any of those. Although my one female Compressus is acting very broody right now. I think she has eggs. I haven't been able to confirm, but so I might get a chance. Yes, Stacy, Viola, purple. I'm hoping to get a chance with Compressus. My Perlatus are also acting broody. I just wanted to say, I said it in another session, but I'm not forcing them to breed. I'm giving them good conditions. I'm letting them do their thing. If they get the eggs in the salt water, if they do everything right and give me babies, I try to raise them. I'm not trying to force them to do anything they are not naturally doing. It's just sort of my philosophy.
I can guarantee you those exotic babies will be adopted out pretty quickly.
They're terrifyingly small right now. They're the size of a peppercorn. The big ones are the size of a peppercorn. Big ones. Hi, Rita. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, Kathy has now 2018 and 2019 babies. There's a few of you out there who've got the second generation. Well, the second wave, maybe.
How do they get along with each other?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Also, Stephanie, the exotic babies, a higher adoption fee. That's going to depend on how many survive to adoptable age. I'm worrying and fretting over them. Believe I've had losses. It's hard to tell when they're that small. There have been abandoned shells. They also go naked and walk and find another shell. So I won't know until I get a count, which probably won't be until or winter, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. It won't be any less than the current adoption fee. It might be a little more. We'll talk about it. Well, the team, Stacy, me, Anna, we'll talk. We'll figure that out and let you know.
Yeah, we want you to have these babies, so yeah.
Yes, Rochelle, those are the ones that Kelly Kurtz, her crabs dropped them in her saltwater tank. She didn't know for sure what they were because she didn't see the spawn. She believes they're either Perlatus or Viola. It could also, she had other species, but those are the two she thought were acting like they had eggs. And yeah, Mysteriosa. After CrabCon, we're going to try to get some people to help us ID them. I'll try to get some better pictures. Yeah, still about the adoption fee. I also said this in the other session, but it's really about valuing the crabs. And it's not an exorbitant fee for an animal that is so hard to raise that you have to then keep for almost a year before it's able to be adopted out, complete with all the nerve-wracking levels of that. So yeah, I saw some type of exotic, I'm sorry, Anna, lizard, for lack of a more specific term, at my local pet store. There was $200, and nobody was pointing and going, oh my God, can you believe that?
I see people at the local reptile show who will drop several thousand on a snake just because it's pretty.
Yeah, and this is an animal that can live, decades. So we're trying to set the value now for everyone who's breeding. So what they're doing can be valued, but really mostly for the crabs. So they're valued for the exotic, amazing, long-lived creatures that they are. And people take better care of a pet that they pay more for the most part. Not everyone, but yeah. Will you answer this next one I pinned, Anna?
Well, if you obviously don't have the money for babies, of course, I would recommend you to adopt adult crabs in your area, especially in like areas like New York, California. There's so many, Colorado. There's so many states that I just don't have enough adopters in, and it's sad what happens to these crabs. It's kind of like a pet store sometimes. You know, people don't have the best conditions, and I try what I can. It doesn't always work out, and it is what it is.
Yeah, that's animal keeping for you. How old are they now? The Mysteriosa were born at the 1st of May, so 2 months and a little. The 2019 babies were born in September and October of 2019, so they're coming up on, I don't know, 15 months, something like that.
Angela, you can request a specific type, but I do have to say that most of the crabs that come through the adoption program are going to be PPs. I can put you down that you're looking for this one specific type. Most people who come through the adoption program don't even know what species they have. Like, I ask them to send me pictures so I can be like, oh, they have this, and I can put that on the map so other people know. Which is fine. If you want to just sign up, and I'll put that down for you. If you want to also help transport while you're waiting for whatever species, that's great. I love to have more people who will help transport. No, I do not have enough adopters in Colorado. I think I might have one, if that.
And you don't see many exotics up for adoption, do you, here in the U.S.?
No, I think the last time it was a crab in Ohio, and I was able to get it to Stacy. I can't remember the species. Stacy, what species was that crab? Just there she is. But yeah, I saw the picture and I was like, oh my God, go get this. Get this to Mary. It's strange how that works out. Like, I don't know if that person knew. I can't remember if that particular person knew if it was different. It might have, they might have, I don't know, but a lot of the times they don't.
I don't think you have a lot of adopters in Florida, do you?
I have a pretty good amount, and usually I can rely on Mike. I can usually be like, hey, Mike, is this too far for you? He'll usually travel a pretty good distance for them. So lower Florida, I seem to have way more adopters. I don't know why.
I would think because they're so prevalent, people wouldn't be wanting them.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times when I get people sending me adoptees when they just find crabs in Florida, sometimes I want to say, is it a painted shell? If it's not a painted shell, you should probably let it go.
Let it go, yeah.
I don't require you to have a PPS tank ready. That's up to you. It is encouraged, but I'm not going to require you to do that in order to adopt. I want to get these crabs into homes. That's an extra step that you need to take. Well, the tank's definitely not going to be emptied if you're approved to adopt. If you're approved to adopt, your tank's going to be set up. How do you apply? Just go to Crab Street Journal and look for where it says adoption. I think it's like one of the first couple of things on there. Just click it, apply. It's free. Empty of crabs? Oh yeah. You can put, yeah. You don't have to have crabs for a required amount of time to adopt through the adoption program. In fact, we would rather new members to get set up and then adopt versus going to the store and purchasing crabs. Jessica, I would need you to fill out the adoption form for adult crabs if you want to adopt adult crabs, because I need your information with all those applications so I can add your listing to my adoption map. Otherwise, I can't pull the same information from the baby application because it asks different things. Look at you, Rose. Why aren't you on camera?
Yeah, you can take my spot. I'm cameraed out.
I mean, I don't really see any more questions.
Oh, that's good, Jessica. You know, Mike, I think, is always looking for people to help transport. You know, he's got a really big tank and can take a lot of crabs, but the really time-consuming thing is meeting with people, you know, setting up to meet. So definitely get in touch with Mike. He's really, really busy right now. His business has been super affected by COVID-19. Just in ways you can't even imagine. But, you know, in a couple weeks, reach out to Mike, and he's a great resource.
Sarah, the crabs are all varying sizes. There's extra small, there's jumbos, there's whatever. There's just tons of crabs.
And some are coming from great conditions, from people who just can't keep them anymore. Some are coming from miserable conditions, and we don't judge. We're just, you know, happy to get them new homes, but it's a crapshoot.
Exactly. Mike does adopt crabs out of his colony, which is nice. I've set him up with a couple adopters this past year, and that's nice.
And he'll ship too, won't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he'll ship them. I can't even, I've lost count of how many crabs he has adopted like last year. Like I just send him people's contact information and say, this person wants you to adopt. They're located here. Go get them.
Yeah. For others who may not know, Mike also takes shells, you know, not painted shells, wild shells that you don't have, even if they have holes in them, but preferably not. And he takes them down to the Keys and he gives them to wild crabs. He hides them where people won't find them, but crabs will. And I love that so much. I wish I could do that. So we gotta schedule a trip.
I know.
And we'll all do that. Bring all our shells and
let's do this, Mike.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's Anna, really. I mean, I just do the end product. She does all the front end stuff.
Oh, you will know you are approved. I will email you. You will have instructions on how to view our map, how to, you know, see what's available in your area. You'll definitely know. I communicate
to your spam folder and you don't check your spam folder, which has happened. So if you haven't heard, check again, ask again, right? I mean, like.
Exactly. I mean, it's the internet.
We can't control that. We don't know. You know, we don't know if it goes to your spam folder. Also, speaking for you, Anna, but I believe from the process, I understand that sometimes you will get back to people and you will ask for follow-up picture or a little more information. And if they don't get that to you, there's not much you can do about that. I mean, you can follow up, but that's a lot of work. So usually we rely on you to follow up and give us what we've asked for. Make
exactly,
our job
that
easier.
actually helps keep my program running, because I will say to you, like when I make a match, I will say, when you're done with this adoption, let me know so I can update my records. And then I also will ask the adopter follow-up questions like, how much space do you have in your tank now? Can you take on any more? Do you want to be off the map? Just things like that. Without regular communication on both sides, it would fall apart.
No, he doesn't release them. He only gives shells to wild crabs. If they've been in captivity at present, we believe, I mean, some obviously escape or get, set free. But from our perspective, we don't know what captive breds could take into the wild population, so we don't release them.
Abby, last year I was able to get, I think Stacy figured it out, about 250 crabs, not counting babies, rehomed.
My God.
Yeah, but it could be a little more than that, because we just looked at our spreadsheet and counted how many I have rehomed between, January to January. Yeah.
That's fantastic, Anna.
For doing nothing except for replying to emails, yeah, it is better than what a pet store would do.
And
they would have died probably. Yeah, it's sad. Right before COVID, I actually took in like 21, 23 crabs from a lady who lives in Illinois, about 2.5 hours from me.
I'm going to go see what that noise is.
Okay. I'll try. Oh no. I do have a post on the Land Hermit Crab Owners wood of my tank. It'll give you a better view of things. They're kind of messy. I didn't do anything with them this morning. They're still like kind of waking up. I turned their lights on a little early. This is just one of my big guy's going down. Oh, we'll see you later. Okay. It's 12 feet long. It's made of 3 55s on the bottom, 155 on the top. And then I think that's a 29-gallon tank. That's another topper. But I'm getting ready to add another 55-gallon to it, just for a little bit more space so I can throw babies in there.
I think I'm going to duck out. I'm going to help Jeannie get set up for her shell session. Anyone you want to pop in with you, if Stacy's here, whatever. But thank you, Anna, for all you do. Thank you, all of you who have adopted, who've applied to adopt, who continue to come back and try again. If the first application wasn't accepted, we do revisit. So keep applying. We want everyone to adopt. We just want to make sure all of the conditions are met for the crab's sake. Thank you. Keep going, Anna. You're good. Everybody, in case there's more questions.